There, there.
Carrie.
Surprise. Carrie, come sit next to Fair.
I know you have to sneak out for
I
your
do,
lecture,
yeah.
but do you not want to do that? I didn't think you'd want to leave.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you stay.
Yeah, you don't get up.
Just very
David
quickly.
needs to be, I think you need to be here, David needs to be up here. David, that's Laureate is there? You don't want to Laureate? Yeah, we need another.
You will love more, I know.
Sorry. David, you're here, I think.
Good, I got right behind you.
Yeah, we need one more chair for the Laureate. Yeah. Only she needs to be in the center. Yeah.
I wonder if anybody's going to talk about the White Rose. No, we can't.
Well, I can.
Huh?
I can.
One more right here, too.
I like you more and more the more I hang around you.
What?
I like you more and more the more I hang around you.
That's good. That's good. That makes me and my deodorant better or something.
No.
Perfect.
I just understand you better.
Yeah, good. Takes one to know it.
That's right. No, but I haven't got the Berkeley.
You haven't gone there.
And I haven't got the sense of drama.
Yeah, well, somebody's got it.
That's right.
We're all different patches
A
of
visual,
quills.
something visual.
Good
Something.
you were there. Yeah, well, you got to pop off the paper.
Hi, good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. Oh, there you are. I was looking for you. I'm sorry. You got in there. You got a bomb in there? Oh, well. No, oh, it's I'm the one who's got it stuck.
Better?
Hmm?
Better?
Well, I figured out it was not you. It was my
Oh,
thing.
it was your thing. Okay.
Jose Andres.
Somebody's saying we should start.
No, Jose Andres. He's going to start.
I don't know.
He just Hello.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to open this press conference. We have 10 World Food Prize laureates joining us, and also Chef Jośe Andreś. They want to talk about the annual laureate letter that they have composed and released jointly. So we're going to start with Chef Andreś giving some opening remarks. We'll have a few questions for him, and then we'll turn to the laureates, and we'll have some representatives from the laureates giving some remarks as well, and some questions.
Okay. Hi, guys. Thank you very much. I feel really honored to be. Feel very honored to be in your presence. You can hear me, right? Yep. So, listen. It's obviously amazing that all these individuals, plus the one Arno here with us, are really doing this statement about the urgent call to double emergency food assistance and double investment in sustainable agricultural development. At the end of the day, this is what we are saying, that food is a universal right, that in denying food, we really are denying human rights. And in a way, we're denying our own humanity. We see many countries right now that they are on the edge of true hunger. In many of them, I've been there. My daughter Ines is here with me. She spent the last 2 years in Chad, right in the border in Sudan. Her last place was Yemen. She was working with World Food Program. And if I've not been there, I've been having my daughter just giving me direct reports on the situation. We see what's happening in Haiti. And we believe we can do better. In the last years, we have seen that immigration of people leaving their countries to move to another country is increasing. And this is going to keep increasing in the years to come. And the main reason people leave their countries is because they're hungry. So fighting hunger is the best investment rich countries can be doing for the betterment of the world. We see that these countries right now are going through hunger because the cuts in USAID. I don't think this is in the best interest, for example, of countries like America, because it's not only not feeding those people that are in desperate need of food, in a way it's also not investing in our own farmers, because that's investment of America in buying grain from those farmers that then we can be feeding people around the world. So it's doubling down on food, creating a stronger America, investing in the farming community in America, and in the process taking care of the people hungry around the world. I'm going to end this with some of the amazing phrases that Norman Borlaug ever said. But if you don't feed people, you feed conflict. We see this in real time happening. And you cannot build a peaceful world on empty stomachs. And this is true, and I've seen it firsthand. And at the end, if we all believe that the best way to feed the future is making sure that we feed everyone with hope through a plate of food. Food is the beginning of a better tomorrow. Thank you very much.
We'll take some initial questions for Chef Andreś. I'll prioritize the questions from media first, please. If you have any questions, we'll take 2 or 3 at a go, and then Chef Andreś, you can address them. Do we have questions? Yes, please, Marcelo.
Marcelo Teixeira from Reuters. Could you give us some details of, we know there's been a cut on resources and financing for food programs around the world. The World Food Program was talking about that yesterday. Could you give us details of who is cutting more? We heard that it's more government than private sector itself. Do you have any details on that? Who is cutting more? Of course, which countries and why?
This is a much more detailed question that my expertise, even I could go to ChatGPT right now. You will have the answer. But the big answer, if I can add, and I hope all the laureates here will agree with that we are seeing the red repercussions in the cuts of funding for food aid, an increase of hunger and instability in the countries who are receiving that aid. And at the same time, we're seeing that farmers in America are suffering indirectly or very directly consequences. So the details, I'm sure is experts here that they have much more detail on what countries and what amounts or who or what. But the big spectrum, the big idea is very clear. Those cuts are directly impacting the lives of millions of people. And that's only going to be exacerbating people leaving their countries to go to the richer countries. Therefore, we're going to have a massive, continuous emigration from poor countries to richer countries. The way to stop all of that is making sure everybody's fed. Well, in part because we need people like them sitting next to the president in the White House and in every rich country around the world. Presidents have high-end experts on every issue next to them, next to the White House in this case or any other government. It's people like them and others in this conference who are true experts on the connections with food and the good it can create, but also the bad can create. So it's all about no smart policies that creates problems instead of fixing them. Good policies become good politics. We need to make sure that the President of the United States right now comes with good ideas that are good policies, that they are put to play where, like international aid. By cutting international aid, we are creating mayhem in the world, but also farmers in America are losing. Therefore, I will not say it's a smart policy. I think the President of the United States should have better advisors next to him when we talk about food. That will be a very simple way to start fixing big problems with very simple solutions.
One last question for Chef Andres before we move on.
I hope you agree with me.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely,
Are you
amen.
going to stick around?
Yeah, thank you.
I think we'll move now. We have two of the laureates going to be representing the laureate group with some opening remarks. And then after that, open questions to any of the laureates or frankly Chef Andres as well. If there's follow-up questions. Please, David, if you don't mind introducing.
I'm David Beckman. I won the prize in 2010. I'm a preacher. I think if a chef can be a good advocate for hungry people, a preacher can make it into this group too. The World Food Prize was first awarded in 1987. And during all the time, since 1987 until recently, we've seen dramatic progress against world hunger. And the laureates have all played leadership roles in this huge liberation, human liberation that's taken place over the last several decades. But in recent years, it's slowed down, partly because violent conflict in the world has increased. COVID was a huge setback, and also climate change is a severe situation for poor farm families in the tropics. Climate change is hitting the tropics hardest, and poor farmers don't know when it's going to rain. And then, because of that, the progress against hunger has come to a standstill, and severe hunger has dramatically increased. That's famine and near famine conditions. In the laureate statement, it lists some of the countries that are most affected by famine. I thought we were done with famine, but it's reemerged, and certainly in Gaza, South Sudan, Yemen, DRC. And then this year, the United States government has dramatically cut international assistance, and the UK and France have also made cuts. So when the need has increased, the money's not there. We heard from the World Food Program yesterday. The World Food Program is the biggest humanitarian organization in the world. By all accounts, it's really well run. But we were told that half the people in Sudan are living in extreme hunger. And of those people, the World Food Program has been providing some food to 4 million people. But they're just now, like right now, cutting back. They can't feed all the people that they've been feeding because money hasn't come in. And similarly, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, that's not in the newspapers very much, but the suffering is really severe, our newspapers. And in Haiti, they're also cutting back. So when the need is severe, the money's not there. So this year, Jose suggested we do a statement, and Corey Fowler drafted a statement, and everybody said, great. You know, everybody, I don't think we had much debate. This is what we need to say. It's an urgent call. It's an urgent call on leaders and people to respond to the current situation. You know, we said we should double humanitarian assistance, emergency assistance. And we should also double agricultural assistance because it works. It helps people be able to grow food and to feed themselves and their communities. You know, it's a call to the letter is a call to political leaders. In democracies, we decided who the leaders were going to be. And it's also, I love it. The last phrase is, it's a call on each one of us to promote a culture of shared responsibility and action. It's not somebody else's problem. It's our problem to solve. You want to?
Hi, I'm Maria Hungria. I have the honor of being the laureate this year. I work with the biologicals in agriculture. And I will start from the last phrase that you said about the responsibility of each one. I work a lot with farmers, okay? And I work with biologicals, and I know that farmers, you have to go to show to them, they have to see, and they have to see that's close to them, that they understand. So many people that I know, it's like that. So sometimes we talk just about IT or Gaza, now that we see, but many people, they do not understand that food insecurity can be in the backyard. So an important thing is to show that's everywhere. I was with a driver here in Des Moines, and she said that she was a volunteer here in Des Moines to feed people that had food insecurity. In Brazil, I experienced a very interesting, sad situation. In 2023, we launched the data that we were producing food that could sustain 800 million people. At the same time, another data came that we had 33 million of our population, a little bit more than 200 million, 33 million people in severe food and nutrition insecurity in the country. So how can you be in a country that's the fourth greatest producer in the world and you have 33 million people starving, okay? In 2 years, just in 2 years, we returned the meals at the school, the government changed, the political help to these people is restarted, and in 2 years, we were able to be announced by FAO that we left the map of the hunger. So it's not just about producing food. So today we are not in the FAO map, but I believe that it's a shame if we have one Brazilian in food insecurity because we are producing for 1 billion people. But it shows that it's not just to produce, it's everything, okay? Political actions, governmental programs, education at school, valorization of the work of women. Okay, I really studied a lot these 2-3 years the situation in Brazil, and I'm sure that's everywhere. Nobody considers how important women are for food security. It starts there, producing food for the family, for the community, preparing the food, educating the children, educators at the school, and goes up to us that are scientists, agronomists, extensionists. If it was not for the women, we would be in very, very bad situation, worse than we are. So maybe if we can make those close to us to understand, well, food insecurity here in backyard. Now, can you imagine how the situation is there in Gaza? I just want to tell you, to see around your backyard. And then people will maybe understand the tragic situation that's in Gaza and in other countries.
We'll open the floor to questions. If your question is directed at any laureate or chef specifically, let us know. Otherwise, we'll choose a handful of laureates.
Well, everything, as Chef André Jose said, you know, like meals for example, for the children at the school. Then, like in Brazil and other countries too, the small farmers around the cities to give this money for this meal, okay? Because then they will have a nutritious meal, they will have fresh meal, and you are going to give money for the small farmers and everything. So there are many interventions that we have. Science, here many of us are really into science. Science is needed in all types of science, okay? Economy, communication, agronomy, so that we can understand, because food security, as I said, is not just a matter of production. It's a matter of many sciences, many types of interventions. So, like, if I produce more and does not reach, the waste, lost and waste of food is crazy. Data show that if we eliminate waste, we can feed 1 billion people. And we see here, every meal we are wasting food. So we have many interventions, and each one here has received the prize for a specific, important action that should be considered in this whole for improving food security.
Yeah, thanks. And thank you to DevEx for what you're doing to work on this issue. Just a couple of quick points. The first is that very often in this field, we are pitted against each other from the word go. Do we want to invest in humanitarian assistance, or do we want to invest in agricultural development? I don't know why we set up that dichotomy. Are we really telling the world you can eat vegetables or you can eat fruit, but not both? Are we saying you can eat today but not tomorrow, or tomorrow but not today? Why do we do that? I'm not sure. The second thing is that I get a little frustrated when I hear people say, well, the world produces enough food, it's just a problem of distribution. Well, the world doesn't produce food. Farmers produce food, and they produce food where people need to eat the food. I've sometimes likened it to the amount of gold in the world. Yeah, the world has enough gold to distribute about an ounce to every human being on earth. It's just a distribution problem. We don't talk in those terms. Where we see extreme hunger, we see both a distribution and a production problem. And that's why I think we need to get those two sides together, quit thinking of them as somehow as there being a wall between the two, working together and not assuming that the funding and finance and support for those different efforts need to come out of the same pot. We need to look at them as not starving Peter to feed Paul. They're part of the same problem, part of the same solution. We don't treat any other large international problem as if we can only solve a piece of it, but not the whole thing.
And if I can add, I mean, I personally will request President Trump to reconsider that he was ill-advised on getting rid of USAID, because diplomatically it was the best tool America had for true soft power, and directly was a good investment into American farmers and America taking care of countries around the world. Will be amazing if he will realize that he was ill-advised and he will reverse. Equally, all the countries that began decreasing food aid investment, we should be requesting that they go back, or even as we are saying here, double down. And in a moment that seems everybody is calling for increase in military spending, mainly because what's happening in Ukraine, I will say, well, what we need to do is peace right now, not keep increasing more investment in weapons, and start doing true investment in the future of humanity by investing in food production, creating resilience, and feeding the people where the people live. We need big farms, we need middle-sized farms, and we need also small farms. This is the way to really be not only eradicating hunger, but creating a long-term development in every corner on earth. This is two things, obviously. And one thing I will add, farmers should never be attacked under any situation. Obviously, doctors, and nurses, and reporters, and civilians. But in Ukraine right now, every day, are drones attacking farmers right where they are producing their food. UN, and hopefully here at the World Food Prize, we need to do a statement that no farmer anywhere around the world should be a military target, period. These two things will start putting us in the right path. They're hitting them with drones every day. Every day.
Yeah, I think the question you're raising is one of the key questions for policymakers. You let the kids die today in order to save next generations, or do you feed the kids today and then you don't have any money to put into technological change, agricultural research to solve the problem in a sustainable long-term way? And it is, as was said, not an appropriate kind of thing to deal with. You need both. You have to have both. No, we can't have kids dying from starvation when in fact we would be able to save them. But you cannot put yourself in a position where you, for the next many years, have to continue to deal with acute malnutrition problems. You have to find sustainable solutions, and we can afford both. What we're suggesting from the Laureates is focusing on ag research, on technological change, and it matters where food is produced. It has to be produced so it generates income for the producing household as well as food for people who need to eat. So you need to look at both, and we can afford both. And anybody who says, no, I can only afford to keep people alive by feeding them a ration every day is not understanding the issue.
Push this.
My name is Heidi Kuhn. I'm honored to be World Food Prize Laureate 2023. During that month, only a few days before, Hamas had attacked Israel. And throughout the past 2 years, we have witnessed a war in Ukraine where today 30% of the land is now contaminated by landmines, UXO, and cluster munition. I received this award for the vision of turning mines to vines, replacing the scourge of landmines with vineyards and orchards worldwide. Today, there's an estimated 110 million landmines in over 60 countries and counting today. As a mother of 4 and a grandmother of 7, I am at a loss for words as to what I possibly can do as a World Food Prize laureate. And from my heart, in listening and seeing the solutions for security, I come from California. UC Berkeley just established the Kuhn Initiative for Post-Conflict Development Studies, and I hold up this white rose as a symbol of the seeds we have in common as opposed to those which separate us, a living symbol of life that grows from the one earth that we share. And yes, there are thorns. We prick our fingers and we bleed. But ultimately, with patience and persistence, there is the beauty of the rose, the fragrance, the touch. And I present this to you for the work that you're doing on behalf of the children and mothers around the world who have no voice. Thank you so much, Chef, and may we feed the children of the world.
We have time for one more round of questions. I think we'll take 2 or 3 questions at a time, and then
Can I just complete something, Jośe? I think that farmers, they suffer everywhere. Okay, it's not, and our statement is not just about that they should not be object of military things, but of violence. Okay, so like in our country, in South America in general, we see lots of conflicts, farmers, small farmers, always the small farmers that suffer, okay? By illegal mining situation, by big ones trying to be, being violent with the small ones, so they leave and everything. So our statement is that farmers really, they deserve our respect because they are producing the food. So we must protect them, especially the small ones, because I believe that's like everywhere in Brazil, the small farmers are responsible for 70% of the food that we eat every day in Brazil. Okay, the other farmers, they are responsible for exportation and everything, but our food usually comes from small farmers. So we have to protect them against everything, all types of violence.
any other questions? If you want to put your hands up, we'll take 2 or 3 at a time. Yeah, Paul.
A question just in two parts. One, is there hope? Are you seeing hope? Where do you have hope? And where are you looking for this? You mentioned government, industry, civil society. Many are failing us at the moment. Where are you seeing leadership? Thank you.
I mean, we have many laureates didn't speak, but on the hope, I was last month in Gaza. On the first day of the war, of the attack, we were in Israel, feeding people in Israel. And I had a lot of friends that told me, why were you in Israel? And I told them, because the people of Israel needs our help. Those kibbutz were really massacred. The next day we were in Gaza, and I had other people that asked me, why are you in Gaza? Because the people of Gaza are being also massacred, and I need to be there. And the hope I saw it in the same day I was hugging mothers and grandmothers, people that lost loved ones in Gaza. And in the same day, in the evening, as I was leaving Gaza, I was doing exactly the same, 10 kilometers away, with mothers. And both were telling me the same. We want peace. We want to be safe, but we want them to do well, which sometimes we don't read in the press. And if I will tell you those same phrases without telling you if they were Muslims or Jewish, Palestinians or Israelis, you see that what people want is that simple truth, that what is good for them must be good for me. I'm giving you respect and dignity, but I want that respect and dignity back. That's where I believe there is. That's where I believe there is a true chance of hope. And on the, what was the question? And you mentioned about chicken seeds. I think here, all the laureates, even here we are talking about the Einsteins of the food world. Me, I only learn by being there, and I know what we do right and I know what we do wrong. When you mentioned seeds in Ukraine, for example, one of the biggest programs we had, that was the cheapest program, was providing seeds to every farmer. But not because Ukraine has no food. Ukraine has plenty of food. It's only Ukraine is at war, and the normal social systems have broke down. What Central Kitchen does, in the meantime, is just cover those shortfalls, those black holes in the system. So we've been providing a lot of seeds from day one. Actually, I think one of the first phone calls I had in Ukraine, was putting Secretary Vilsack in contact with the Secretary of Agriculture in Ukraine on the phone. Why? Because farmers needed help, and nobody better than U.S. to give them help. The chickens front, that's the other thing we've been doing. If you go to World Central Kitchen, I know many people here support initiatives like this, but what you're saying is something I think all the laureates will support. Yes, we need to be smarter in the way we provide, not only ending hunger today, which is important, but also doing it in the way that stops hunger long term. This is the only way forward, because money is not eternal, and I believe we can do more even with less. But still, we need to put the right investment to make sure we end hunger today, as we are requesting. Let's double down humanitarian aid, food aid around the world.
Oh, me. Thank you.
I think this works very well, right?
This is Ratan Lal, 2020 Laureate. We have heard a lot about hunger. That's very sad. What we have not heard about is hidden hunger. Hidden hunger affects 3 billion people. That's a deficiency of protein, micronutrients, vitamins, and that affects health of children, young mothers, elderly people, especially in developing countries. We should not forget that. Therefore, rather than on producing more food, let's produce nutritionally rich food. That's very important part. Nutrition sensitive food. And so that we can take care of the hidden hunger part. The other part that was mentioned by local food production, I fully agree. During the COVID-19 time, the distribution was a problem. And one of the solutions that came out very open, home garden. Even if you can grow 1 tomato, 1 cucumber, 1 pepper, a little home garden, that will go a long way. 1 home, 1 garden is a very good start to that. Africa suffered. The question has come why Africa has bypass the Green Revolution. And the problem is political willpower. That's what's lacking.
Yes, I want to go back to the very tough issue of leadership, because that is the elephant in the room, isn't it? But what gives me hope, I was 2016 laureate. I'm based in Nairobi, Kenya. And throughout Africa, you are seeing the young people speak up. And I think young people are standing up and demanding their democratic rights and becoming a voice for change and anti-corruption. And these youth need support for that leadership to develop among them and start to take off for better governance, because we know with democracy they will have a stronger future. And we're seeing the beginning also of new emerging, I think you've seen them here at the World Food Prize, the Minister of Agriculture of Sierra Leone, the Minister of Agriculture of Ghana. They've recognized the potential for agriculture to be a driving force for economic growth, providing jobs for the youth that need jobs to have stability and a bright future for the world. So I see the real potential for new leadership emerging on the African continent. And of course, we hope that youth will be the future of new leadership in many countries.
My name is Howard Buis, and with Jan, I was a 2016 laureate. I'm retired now, but I live in the Philippines, and I teach a course, Economics of Food and Nutrition, at the Agricultural University in Los Baños. I just want to make the point that there are many different faces of hunger. In the Philippines, in high-income groups, stunting is not a problem. There's plenty of good food in the markets. I eat well. But in the low-income groups, 40% of the children are stunted. Mothers cannot eat well if they're poor. Those 40% of children are stunted because the mothers are not eating well. Someone asked a question about one specific intervention that we might like to see implemented. In the Philippines, golden rice was implemented. It was being commercialized for 2 years. It would double the vitamin A intakes of the poor. What you don't know is it also has, it's high in zinc and high in iron. It would more than double the zinc intakes of the poor. It would add 25% of the iron intakes of the poor. Sells for the same price as high yielding as normal rice. Greenpeace came in, did a legal action. It's now regulated. It's now illegal. It's now sitting on the shelf. And donors are tired. They've been funding golden rice for many years. They're tired. In 2020, there's no more funding. Golden rice will be mothballed in 2026. And that's terrible. And it should be implemented.
Hi, I'm Catherine Bertini. I was the 2003 World Food Prize laureate for my work in the World Food Program. I spoke in Beijing in 1995 at the International Women's Conference 30 years ago, and the speech started, "Women eat last." And then I went on to say how important it was that women eat first and that we consult with women about the needs of the family, because all of the feeding that we might do around the world and all of the distribution of food we might have is not as important as focusing on the household and who actually in the household is empowered to feed the family. And the answer to that was then, was 30 years before, and is today women. But we haven't learned this lesson yet, to put women front and center in the fight against hunger. And that doesn't mean women as leaders, although it's nice that we have them. It means women as household managers and leaders, women who are the mothers and the grandmothers and the aunts and the sisters, because they're the ones that fetch the water, they're the ones that try to grow the food,
they're the ones that shop for the food, and they're the ones that are so desperate when the food is not there. So if there's one thing that we can do is to try to change our policy direction to include women, reaching women, and most especially women who are feeding their families.
Talking about leadership, I think that we should change our minds. Leaderships, for me, it's kind of past. In South America, we love leaders. And it has been a disaster. Why? By studying this problem of numbers in Brazil, I studied a lot and talked to many people, also from other countries. And I have learned that the problem is not, we do not need a leadership. We have to work together. All sectors are extremely important. It's like, it's easy if we say, no, it's just the government, then the other ones will not do anything. So we need the public sector as much as we need the private sector and as much as we need the third sector. If we do not work together today, we will not go anywhere. So to nominate a leader, a leadership can put the other ones in a stage that will not contribute. And regarding also the production, I imagine that should be very difficult for somebody with food insecurity that doesn't know if he'll have a piece of bread in one day to produce that food. So we have to have a system producing locally, and then the biologicals, they are great helpers in that because they have low cost, they help you to recover the degraded areas and everything. So we have indeed to have local production systems, but I believe that people that are not starving, that should take that action, again, probably government, third sector and private sector to do that. But let's forget about just one leader. Let's work, everybody has responsibility.
I think one area which has not been paid too much attention, and there's a no talk about that this morning, it's the water sanitation. No matter how much nutrition food you eat, if the water is not right, then lot of the nutrients are not absorbed. And we had a very good demonstration yesterday, the importance of water sanitation and how you can, with the minimum investment, improve the quality of water. And quality of water, if you improve, you're also improving the uptake of nutrients. I think that's very important issue which has not received too much attention.
Well, on the question of hope and leadership, I think God has planted hope in the heart in all living things. You know, if a disaster hits a community, people come out and they help each other. They rebuild. They try to respond together. Also, if you cut down a tree, sprouts come out. Sprouts come out of the stump. You know, it's just in us to hope, and I'm really inspired by this morning's event. Actually, you know, with the journalists here and all the laureates and everybody else here really cares about overcoming this problem of hunger, and so I look to everybody here to be leaders.
So remember, people, we want to double the investment in food aid, emergency food aid, and double the investment in sustainable agriculture.
Double down.
That's the only way
Show-
for peace in the world.
Show us the money.
Thank you for including me. I
Thank
feel
you.
very honored.
Yes,
All the work you guys you've done,
Yes,
all of you,
Chef,
you are
thank you.
you are the only stars of the food world.
How can I help you? What's up? You just want to get through? Check, check, check.